Welcome. This is Lisa Torres from Access Homeopathy. Here today to talk about homeopathy and more for anxiety. What's the more? Essential oils, acupressure points, techniques, lifestyle supports, and yoga poses. And there's still even more after that. There is a legal disclaimer. That legal disclaimer says that this video is for educational purposes only and that nothing in this video is intended for or to be construed to replace professional advice and guidance. So please consult with your healthcare provider for any symptoms or for any questions that you might have. 3 homeopathic remedies. The ones that I use most frequently are the ones that come to mind when somebody comes in with anxiety is Aconite. And Aconite is mostly indicated when we're talking about panic, fear of dying. And this is your panic attack remedy. There can be a dry mouth. There can be symptoms of shock as well. There can be lots of thirst. And there can be some palpitations too. Argentrum Nitricum is another one. And Argentrum Nitricum, you're talking about this spiral downwards of anxiety, sometimes over some time, sometimes there's like a what if this and what if that and what if this. And Arsenicum is quite common. We see this with a lot of restlessness. Well, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? And moving around and trying different things. There's a fear of illness for the future, for family members in particular. And that's when you're getting this I want to have everything under control and do everything that's perfect and that's right and make all the right decisions. And there you're talking probably, or at least looking and considering Arsenicum. There are lots more. And there's, throughout this video, I'll be talking about some different things, and at the article that's on the blog that corresponds with this video at www.accesshomeopathy.ca, you can pick up the references and more. So there's good references that go into more detail about these 3 remedies and also other ones that we consider in homeopathy for anxiety. Moving on to the top 3 essential oils, the ones that we use most often and hear about also other people using with success for anxiety: lavender, rose, and frankincense. There are doTERRA and Young Living distributors around, probably in your area. They are everywhere, and they have access to really good research and can answer your questions about these essential oils and more. And Dr. Axe has written about these ones and other ones as well, so you can go in and do a little bit more research, but this is a really good starting point. Essential oils are really convenient. You can carry a little vial with you and take a sniff pretty discreetly if you need to. You can also rub them into with a carrier oil on some part of your skin and have them being diffused naturally throughout a room at any time. They can be very soothing in other ways that are aside from anxiety too. The one that I use most often in the clinic is rose, and spraying it sometimes around as well can help when you're going to be clearing out the space between cases. It's very, very special. 3 acupressure points. Acupressure points are fabulous in that you can take them with you anywhere. The ones here are ones that you can do pretty easily. C17 is recognized as one of the main acupressure points for anxiety. You can find it in the area of the bra strap. There's an indentation in between the rib cage there, and just gently massaging on that. What some people do is they have a prayer position, and you can be rubbing in this area and just focusing on that and resting and relaxing as you do that. The pericardium 6 is another well-known point. And here you take 3 fingers and place them up on the bottom of your wrist inwards. And there it'll be just after that, and you can just gently massage there as well. The HT7 is just underneath the bones, both hands, just underneath on the sides there. And so you'll notice sometimes just an increased tenderness when there's a lot of emotion being withheld and it's fear related with these points. And that's okay. You can just rest, gently massage them. 3 techniques. EFT is emotional freedom technique. That's very well known, and it's sometimes deceivingly simple, but there is some depth to it as well when you get into it further. I have heard people have success with it just as beginners by placing one flat hand in front of them and the other one as a karate chop, and just repeating to themselves, I am well and I am safe. I am well and I am safe. This may look a bit strange if you're doing it in the middle of a theater, a little bit more so than a carrier oil sniffing, but it's still known to be effective. Now, there's lots of other points that you would end up working on if you go through the whole process, And certainly trained help can be very helpful with that too, so that you can really maximize the benefits. Every one of these points, this is just a superficial, okay, here you have some things to go and look for that you can relatively easily take into your daily routines. Some of these techniques, it's really just the superficial part, but if you go and see a healthcare practitioner, they can probably go a couple levels more deeply with you. Matrix re-imprinting is one that is actually difficult to do on your own, and you really do need some help with it. The theory is phenomenal, and it is actually developed by one of the EFT masters. And what it is going through, sometimes when you're going through life and there'll be an event that's really, really traumatic, but you get through it anyways. And what happens there, according to this theory, is that there will be a part of you that separates itself just ever so slightly, and that carries the burden, much of the burden from that trauma. And so then you can go on with your life. And at some point, though, this burden carrier, the effects of it can still be felt. And so the matrix re-imprinting goes right into what we call the matrix and changes the feeling of the burden that was being carried. Phenomenally effective. And what happens sometimes with anxiety, this is going a little bit deeper, is that sometimes our anxiety extends from particularly traumatic events that have been or that are being carried in echoes that could be around us. TAT is short for Tapas Acupressure Technique. Tapas Acupressure Technique is so incredible. I don't understand why it isn't more common, and it is something that you can do on your own. You can Google it and find examples on YouTube of people, and this is how you can work on it by yourself. There's basic acupressure points that you can use and some phrases to guide yourself through. So again, on the article, which is on the website blog, we'll give you a couple of links so that you can see what this is about. It is a longer explanation than the context of this video. However, tatlife.com is one quick link for that. And so also, if you can find a practitioner who can combine these three methods, it can be life-changing. Now, I haven't mentioned here, of course, CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, because it is so amply well-known and researched. But I'm trying to give you some other techniques also that you can benefit from and you can use. Lifestyle habits, it's still really, really important, and there's nothing to replace it. You can't take any type of a herb or a supplement or a medication and think it's going to replace sleep on the long term. It's not going to happen. Sleep, there is research, tons of research out there about the need that we have for sleep. Everybody's need is different, but sleep, we still need it. And there's the quality of the sleep as well. One little trick is to sleep in a dark space. Some people don't notice the difference, but other people, it can really affect them, and it's maybe worth experimenting, just trying to block off any light sources that you have in your sleeping space, even those alarm clocks with the red beeping lights. Sometimes you can just take some paper, black construction paper, and block them. Travelers can take garbage bags and block the space that they're in as an easy way to be able to do that. And so that can be very, very helpful. Obviously, the same routine can be helpful. Another one is to be sleeping a little bit more often before midnight than after midnight. People who are sleeping from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. are not, generally speaking, according to research, quite as well rested as the ones who are going to sleep at 8 and getting up at 4. And that is because of the natural cycle of hormones that we have, which have certain purposes at each time of the day. And that sleep can have an effect on anxiety as well as depression. Hydration. Hydration is crucial and often underlooked. So what we're talking about here is that if we're not hydrated, our physiology will shift into a mode where it is, okay, let me get some water. How do I do this? But whatever that particular manifestation is on the individual level, there's an underlying anxiety which is generated on a physiological level when you don't have your basic needs met. We would notice this more initially in terms of air, because that's an immediate thing. We don't have that within seconds. We feel anxious. Well, it's a similar thing with hydration, but it's at a much more subtle level. Exercise. This is probably a no-brainer. It's been written about everywhere, but anxiety disorder, anxiety and depression, organizations also write about it. Really, really helpful. I would also add exercise outside, walking outside in natural environments. I remember years back, and a healthcare practitioner had said to me, walk outside in a natural environment, and I didn't quite get it. Now I get it. And it's really important that we do that. There's a diffusing effect. So if you can incorporate that into your life in any way, that's very, very helpful, and it can go quite far. Yoga poses. Yoga is amazing. Now, top 3 goes well with this top 3 sort of series. Personally, I would be doing the sun salutation, but that's more than 3. But the sun salutation kind of covers a lot, and it's pretty quick. Barring that, we've got the child's pose, which is known to just be like whoosh, pretty relaxing. You've got your knees, and then you're lying down and over. The tree is so helpful because you have to focus, not necessarily like the tree that's on this picture, but if you can, go to town, but otherwise you at least have to focus. Don't forget to tighten your muscles. If you have a hard time doing the tree, it may not be because your balance isn't very good, but that you haven't learned to properly use your muscles, and so for the purpose of balancing. So it does require a little bit of effort initially. Once you get it, then it requires focus. And that focus itself can draw our attention away from whatever it is underlying or active anxiety. And then there's the headstand. The headstand is a really interesting pose, but many people are challenged by it. Go slow, go with training. There does need to be some preparatory work involved. So if you're not ready for the headstand, don't do it. But I did want to say there's another, it's not a yoga pose, but alternate nostril breathing can do wonders for anxiety. It's something you can take with you. It's free. And most people, when they're going to go and look at yoga, don't bump into it right away. You have to go a little bit deeper into the field before you end up with alternate nostril breathing. And so how it works basically is you take your hands like this, and you fold your fingers in. You have your thumb and your pinky finger. Oh, sorry, not your pinky finger. There you go. Those 2 fingers stand up, which mine doesn't perfectly well. And then inhale. Exhaling as you cover one nostril with your thumb. And then you would be doing even counts. As a beginner, even count would be 4 in, 4 holding, and 4 exhale. So I'll be counting really quickly just for the purpose of showing. So here I've obviously exhaled, inhaling, holding for 4, exhaling for 4 from the other nostril. And so here we've got that alternate nostrils. You're inhaling and exhaling, and you keep doing it. And if it helps you to have your counting on one hand, that's very helpful. This takes your concentration away again from the anxiety, but it also balances so much in your system. So you come away from it feeling, whoa. If you're feeling lightheaded, if you have a challenge with the actual breathing part, you can just shorten the breaths as you do it. Don't feel like you have to be breathing through your nostrils. If your nostrils are congested, that's okay. Breathe through your mouth. It's not going to do the same thing, but you're not supposed to be asphyxiated while you're doing this. And then, of course, yoga has other methods to be able to take a saline solution and clear out the sinus passages. There's so much to it, but those are good starts for alternate nostril breathing and for anxiety where yoga is concerned. Now, there is so much also research about anxiety, but I find that even so, and although probably 80 or more percent of the cases that come into the clinic have some degree of anxiety as part of the overall symptom picture, I still feel like it's really not very well talked about, which is partly why this video is happening, so you can get this information and do something with it. Apparently only 10% of those people with anxiety actually receive effective help, which means that there's a whole bunch of other people who aren't. There's about 30% of people who really experience this to a degree of unwellness on a regular basis. Well, that has huge effects on our society, so it's a really, really important thing. Again, you can find the article which corresponds with this video and contains some more details as well as links at the blog at www.accesshomeopathy.ca. for Canada. And then again, we've got the part about the 30% of North Americans who suffer from anxiety. I hope that these ideas have been helpful to you. So if that's so, and you think that they might be helpful to others, then please like them, share them, spread them the word about different ways to ease anxiety. This clinic is very slow and a bit timid to catch on to the whole social media thing. So please share it as you wish. Okay. Very best wishes. Thank you.